Testing unleashed.
Well, Kelly's Court is back in session. On the docket today, the tale of the two tapes. We are now getting a brand new look at the moments leading up to a disturbing head-kicking incident involving a Rand Paul supporter and a woman from MoveOn.org. It happened a couple of nights ago before the Kentucky debate. Here you can see Lauren Valley, the Move On woman, thrown to the ground by Rand Paul supporters in this video. One guy's got her, takes her down. Then this guy with the jeans on is about to stomp on her. They say it was on her head. It looks a little bit more like the shoulder, but it doesn't really matter. He is now facing possible criminal charges. They're evaluating whether or not to bring them. But now we get new video just into Fox News about what happened right before this incident. Keep in mind, she claims, I was simply there to hold a sign, and that's all I did, hold a sign. Well, that video shows her trying to shove the sign into the car that is bringing Rand Paul to the debate. Several Paul supporters then surrounded her at that point, and a man in a suit is actually the first person to intervene physically to get her away from Rand Paul. So, should one or more people be charged with a crime here? Let's ask our panel. Jonas Bilbour, criminal defense attorney, and Kimberly Guilfoyle, Fox News legal analyst and host of Breaking News on FoxNews.com. All right, panel, so let's just start with the possible assault charges, and then we'll talk about whether her story is really jiving, okay, because it's really two different issues. Let me start with you, Kimberly. This guy, his name is Prophet. This is his last name, Prophet. He's the stomper. Should he be charged?
Yes, because it's not okay to Rodney King someone, even though she was in the wrong for putting something through the window like that. Her story is inconsistent. She's not completely innocent, but he responded inappropriately, and it rises to the level of an assault and battery. He's going to have to answer to a judge because the summons was delivered to him. Jonna,
do you have any question about whether or not this is an assault under Kentucky law?
Yeah, I do. You know, this Prophet's going to claim he was defending a third party, and you're allowed to do that if you have a reasonable belief that that person's going to be harmed and you use reasonable force. So even if he is charged, he has a decent defense.
But she was down. Can we roll the tape as opposed to the still frame so they can see for themselves?
The threat is over.
She was down, right? The first guy already had her down. I can give that to you, Jonna, on guy number one, who they may also charge, apparently.
Right.
Some on the left are calling for him to be charged, too. Hold on, we're going to, not the new tape, but the old tape of the stomping. Okay, so I can give it to you maybe with the first guy who brought her down to the ground, but she was down when Prophet comes over and stomps on the head. Kimberly, I mean,
the threat has been removed. She was actually contained. She was thrown down on the ground when he actually engages in the stomping of the head and the shoulder area. So he's not allowed to do that. The law is not going to protect him. That's where it goes too far, and it's excessive.
And then you can hear, actually, the other Rand Paul supporters or whoever's out there saying, no, 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 hold on, trying to stop him from doing that. Even they said that's too much. Okay, now let's talk about her inconsistencies, which are just coming out, and whether they're at all relevant here. She claimed in an interview, and actually a few different interviews she's given to different folks since this happened, that I was simply there to hold a sign. Just so our viewer knows who she is, MoveOn.org, far-left organization. She was holding a Republic Corp sign. She's pretending to be a Republican, aligned with corporations, for the money. And she dresses in character. That's why she had the blonde wig. And she wanted to get her sign that said something like, I love Rand Paul and I'm part of Republic Corp, something like that, in front of the camera. She claims, right? So, Jonna, she says, I was simply there to hold a sign. But that wasn't okay with them. They chased me around the car. She claims she was in front of the car and they chased her, they pursued me around the back, and so on and so forth. Now let's take a look at what the new video actually shows. Here's Rand Paul pulling up. You can see her blonde wig come out of the side, and the white, he's in the passenger seat. There she tries to shove the sign in, and then moments later, the scuffle occurs on the side of the car is how it looks according to this tape, Jonna. So I ask you, is she telling us the full truth?
According to this video, no way. And look, you know what? When you unnecessarily put yourself in harm's way and you get harmed, legally, you're not a victim. She wasn't there innocently. She was actually trying to shove the sign in Rand Paul's face. And look, Rand Paul had to get out of the car. She needed to be out of the way. Sorry that it had to be face down on the sidewalk, but I think that was the purpose here of what Prophet was doing.
Kimberly?
Yeah, I agree. Well, the first guy who actually intervened, no prosecution for him, defense of others, reasonable belief that harm was about to occur. Second guy, excessive use of force in defense of others. he actually could be facing the music. In terms of a recovery for her, civilly speaking, no, I don't think so. I mean, maybe against the one guy, but not against Rand Paul or his campaign, because he was a volunteer.
It looks like fourth-degree assault would be the potential charge where you intentionally or wantonly cause physical injury to another. All right, panel, thank you both so much. John and Kimberly, one final word for our viewers. This guy, Prophet, should be charged. This is fourth-degree assault. I don't care how upset he was. He crossed a line, period. As for her explanation of what preceded the event, clearly she took some liberties with the truth. That may change your opinion of this woman, but it doesn't change the assault case. We'll be right back.
Just walking into a meeting, work. I'll be right in. So the numbers come in? And how many accounts did we lose to Scottrade? How many? Well, just run those numbers a couple more times before you go upstairs. No, I don't like the phrase mass exodus, Gary.
Join the millions of investors who've chosen Scottrade as the company they count on.
Oh, come on!
Scottrade. Get invested.
Diabetes testing? It's all the same. Nothing changes.
Then try this. New and improved Freestyle Light blood glucose test strip.
Sure, but it's not gonna... Wow.
Yep, that's the patented Freestyle Zipwick design.
Did it just target the blood?
Yeah, drew it right in. The test starts fast. You need just a